market lasting a few days, it's not necessarily a bad thing to intervene to stabilise it. But over any significant period of time, a few months or something, I think basically the stock market should be left to play itself out. The key question that will determine the dynamics in China's financial market is whether it hits the 6.5% growth rate. So I think that the government should really be concentrating on the fundamentals and not really intervening so much in short-term operations. This might be slightly boring for people who have to write media stories every day. I don't wish to insult the media.
It's okay with me. It's okay with me.
But I know a story which says not very much happened today, it was a sort of average day, doesn't make very good TV. It's better to say everything's going to collapse or everything's going to be boom, but the reality is these things don't greatly affect the medium and long-term development of the economy.
So what about it? Mr. Liu Shiyu not only said what we quoted earlier about circuit breaker and also talking about lessons to be learned, he also talked about in a very consistent tone with his predecessor and some of the others about the government's, at least the regulator's role in an ever-evolving market. He is talking about, at least to some years, that the government or the regulator like him and his commission might act again at important times. That, some say, Professor Hu, have already given a boost to the stock market over the past few days when you see the stock market opens here in China on Monday. But others say what exactly in the long term that would mean in terms, once again, this very important topic, government versus market. Professor.
Good question if you ask me.
It's forever there, isn't it, Professor?
I wish I know in the long term because then I know where I'm going to put my money is. But in any case, look at the world, and the world is indeed look at China on a day-to-day, daily basis, and GDP's growth rate, inflation rate, especially the financial market and the stock market is the focus of a focus. So when I'm a regulator, I know now that China's stock market was my headline of the Bloomberg and other CNBCs, I'll be very, very careful because the market, the stock market, in some way, is not so mature. So overreactions, bubbles, whatever you want to call it, is going to precipitate very, very fast. And so that it will overwhelm everybody, that including the world investors. And now China is no longer an infant anymore. It's a juvenile, but with very strong potentials. Let's all be careful. So Liu Shiyu is the person to do that. Do it in a conservative way.
Conservative, quote unquote. We'll let you to explain what exactly does the word conservative mean in China. Anyway, for this time, Professor Zhu, we see these regulators, not only Mr. Liu Shiyu, but also from the Banking Regulatory Commission, the Social Security Commission, as well as the central banker, Mr. Zhou Xiaochuan, they all talk from both sides. In a way, it reflects a very different approach compared to before. They seem to take a golden middle way, not necessarily talking to one direction without looking at the other direction. Is this about careful interaction with the media, or is this also about a very careful attitude coming from these regulators and central bankers? They also quietly observing what exactly is going on right now. Professor?
I think there must be a little bit of both. I think, on one hand, I think Chinese regulators are learning their hard lessons of how to better communicate with the market. The second is, I think, going back to your comment, I think they probably start realizing that what they're doing have really profound impact on the market. And in my view, the most important impact they have on the market is the expectation. So I think they start realizing that whatever they're doing, it is not just being observed by the market, it is also being responded by the market. So going back to the circuit breaker system, it is not just like the market is saying, okay, if you have this system, I will not short sell your stocks. Actually, with this regulation, they will sell their stocks even more aggressively.
Right.
So there's this strategic reaction which has not been fully taken into consideration during previous policy making, which I think is now being more carefully accounted for. So I think that is a big step forward for Chinese policymakers.
But on the other hand, when it comes to what what exactly are they having in mind? Remember, Central Bank Governor Zhou Xiaochuan, when he was talking about at the press